G'day there guys, Connor here again, and we're back with some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and also the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, let's get right into it. Okay guys, we're on relationships. This one was written by user Mergalote, and it's titled, My brother strongly resents me due to girl issues and has treated my girlfriend poorly. Should I cut off contact with him, or is there anything I can do to help? Basically, my brother has never been exactly successful with girls. To be blunt, he's a virgin. He has not had a first kiss or gone on a date. He's 26 by the way. He's kind of a nerdy guy, but I'm like a super nerd too. We both play games, read a lot of stuff. The main difference between us is that I also have other hobbies like sports, and in general talk to girls more, I think. Though I don't know if talk to girls more is a symptom or the cause. Either way, he kind of strongly resents me for talking to girls. He says that it isn't fair and that I shouldn't be able to do that since I'm younger and shorter than him. For some reason, the height is a big thing for him. I'm about 170 centimeters, he's about 185 centimeters. He questions me every time I mention I'm going out, and get kind of strongly ticked off if I tell him I'm going with my girlfriend. He's been doing this since I was, 14, but since I entered this relationship, about a year and a half, almost 2 years now, anniversary coming up soon, he got way worse. I don't live with him anymore, but he still calls a lot and has been getting upset. He used to call me in the middle of the night when he felt bad about his girl issues. He had a habit of saying he felt worthless because of not being able to date girls, and sometimes calling me around 4 a.m. or so in a borderline panic attack to talk to me about it. I told him to stop this because, well, it was one thing to do it when I was younger, but now my girlfriend usually sleeps with me. Like, even when we don't do anything sex-related, we just like to sleep together because, hey, cuddling is awesome, and I'll fight anyone who disagrees. So I don't like my phone ringing at 4 a.m, and told him to stop. Recently, he flew over to visit me. I'm at university, and, well, I kind of got the impression he flew over more to try to date someone than to see me. My girlfriend had a less than positive impression of him, and I can't even disagree with her. She went into super protective mode and was like, okay, we're keeping him away from you. Because, well, his behavior in person got a lot worse than last time I saw him, like 2 years before, and he kind of looked at me and my girlfriend funny every time we kissed and stuff. He also, and this is according to my girlfriend and a friend of hers, looked at them in ways that made them feel uncomfortable and looked down my girlfriend's shirt while she was bending over to get something. He used to see a therapist but gave up. Parents are of no help in that regard. The major reason I've kind of reached my limit is that when I confronted him about the looking down my girlfriend's shirt incident, he started to cry and say that I was being a terrible person because I was turning the first time he saw boobs into a bad memory. I'm not exaggerating it. That's exactly what he said. After that, I was like, okay, I'm done with you, and didn't talk to him until he left. I spent the whole time with my girlfriend to make sure she was okay with everything. She is okay with me, rather hates him though, which is more than fair. He also complained that I was apparently having more fun with my other friends than with him, and tried to yell at me for it. I feel bad for him because there was a time where he was really just a supportive guy, and I thought he was awesome. I remember being like 6 and wanting to grow up to be just like him. And now it's like, what happened to you, man? I idolized you. How did it turn out like this? Where's the big brother who had my back and taught me how to handle problems at school? At the same time, the way he's acting is unacceptable, so I'm at a point where either he needs to seriously change himself or I can't see him again. Wow, yeah, this guy's got some serious issues. Like, it's totally okay being a virgin at 26, but that doesn't mean it's everyone else's fault. He needs a therapist or, like, I don't know, stop being so desperate and focus on working on himself rather than expecting girls to come to him. It's just classic incel behavior. Also, checking out your brother's girlfriend like that? Bro, get a grip. Let's go to the comments. Quote, when I confronted him about looking down my girlfriend's shirt incident, he started to cry and say that I was being a terrible person because I was turning the first time he saw boobs into a bad memory. Wow, that's wow. I'd at the very least go low contact with him, if not no contact. Maybe someday he'll get to a better place mentally and you guys can reconnect, but right now he's acting like a royal crap. I wouldn't blame your girlfriend for not wanting to be around a guy who intentionally looks down her shirt and places that image squarely in his spank bank, until you ruined it for him anyway. With behavior like that, it's not at all surprising that he hasn't had any luck with women. It's time to set some boundaries and stick with them, man. Don't answer his calls past midnight or whatever. Don't let him hang out with your girlfriend anymore. She thinks he's creepy because he is creepy. You need to take care of you and yours first and foremost. Your brother thinks it's okay to treat women, including your girlfriend, in an objectifying way that is so blatant they are uncomfortable, and when talked to about it, actually tries to justify his behavior by implying he is entitled to use women sexually. Yeah, he is well on his way to doing something that is going to end poorly for him, and even worse for the woman or girl he targets. If he takes advantage of someone while drunk and she feels violated, is he also going to cry about how she's ruining the memory of his first time? At the best, he is depressed, lonely, and immature, but that kind of behavior can lead to seriously predatory actions, and I think you need to consider how he is presenting if you're choosing to bring him around younger women at your college. Really any women, but it makes me very uncomfortable to think that your friends are likely 6 years younger than him. If you miss the brother he used to be, talk to him about that. Share not just your anger, but also your concern for his well-being. Tell him you're worried that some of his behaviors are getting in the way of him achieving the goals he wants. Give specific examples. Basically say what you said in that post. Share that as long as he is being awful towards women you care about and obviously not supportive of your relationship, it is going to be hard for you to feel comfortable introducing him to anyone. Share that his choice to behave this way is likely impacting his attempts to meet women far more than he realizes. Has he lost other friends due to behavior like this? I'm guessing few of his childhood friends want him around them, and their girlfriends either. Tell him what you wrote here, that he needs to seriously change himself, or you need to set boundaries. When he calls bemoaning his lack of romantic or sexual life, repeat ad nauseum, "I'm concerned about you, bro. This sounds like something much better discussed with a therapist, and I just don't have the capacity to support you that a professional would. I need to end the call, but if you decide you're willing to explore this with a therapist, let me know. I'm happy to help you find one who might be a good fit." If he points out that therapy didn't work before, you say, "Perhaps that therapist wasn't the right match, but the way you're acting now really makes me think you could use professional support. I'm concerned about you and really want you to make the choice to seek help. Until you do, I need to take some space from you for my own mental health and well-being." Also, when he complains about having a girlfriend, you say, "Women aren't objects, they are individuals with their own needs and wants, and no one is entitled to a partner for either sexual or romantic contact. Being with a woman is not about age or height, it is about loving yourself first, and finding another person who is a good match and has similar goals, wants, and needs for the relationship. And by relationship, I mean everything from a one-night stand to marriage. Putting me down or comparing us is not going to help you, nor is disrespecting my relationship or partner. Everything you're saying sounds really unhealthy, and I'm concerned that the choice not to seek help for any mental health stuff is preventing you from finding a partner or impacting your dating abilities much more than your height or interests ever would. I really need you to seek support or make some changes, otherwise I'm going to have to set some boundaries for my own mental health." If he yells at you about your other friends and social life, say, "We aren't in competition, we're different people. I care deeply about you, but your failure to be supportive of me is becoming problematic. I worked hard for my relationships, and that included putting work into myself so that I could be the best person I'm capable of being in order to treat others well. This has resulted in some strong and meaningful relationships for me. I know you want the same for yourself. Please stop comparing us and instead focus on what you can work on about yourself. You're a wonderful person and I love you very much, but it's clear from your behavior that you have not been treating me or other people well, and I'm worried that that is causing problems for you socially." If he isn't ready to hear any of these messages, then I do think you need to limit contact. Comprehensive. Alright, on to an update, 6 months later. Old issue. As an update, I'm 21 now and he's 27. Been a while since I posted. Happened to come home for a week, reading week at university, and saw I was still logged into this throwaway. Figured an update might be good in case anyone was curious, and more importantly, writing things down tends to give me some clarity. So, I've unfortunately cut off my brother from my life. Not completely, but that's more to avoid issues than anything else. I still occasionally respond to his texts like once every 2 weeks or so, but I've stopped talking and hanging out with him. It's just that a less dramatic cutting him off is more effective than a "we're done" talk and avoids many issues. He attempted to get into therapy again after I bargained with him. I said I'd hang out with him a bit more if he did, but he quickly stopped going after, saying that his therapy visits just made him feel worse. Later, he explained that he felt like the therapist was judging him by trying to find out why he wasn't having success with women. He didn't quite tell me like that, but after filtering through his rants, that is basically what he said. He repeated things like, "felt so judged," and "made it feel like it was my fault," a lot. From what he said, it sounded like the therapist wasn't doing anything wrong in my opinion. He continued to treat women poorly, and, well, put it this way, he went back to college to join a bunch of clubs so he could hang out and meet new people. A couple days later, he mentions the girls were super superficial, and on the same breath starts talking about how attractive they were. Says he's just an emotional sponge to women, which he described to me as, well, just being a friend. Things like hanging out when a friend is down or buying them a soda when you feel like they've had a tough day. The way he described it, it sounded like some kind of hell instead of, well, friendship. So I come home one week, parents' place. Tournament was near home rather than university. Having just gotten a medal at aforementioned tournament, woohoo, with girlfriend and friends from the team. We are all in a good mood. I cook food and stuff. He goes to his room in a hurry, so I brought him some food I cooked since I know he's awkward in front of new people, but might still be hungry. He kind of, well, not really intentionally, but sort of made me drop the plate by getting in my face and rushing at me, if that makes sense. I was kind of scared. He went on a semi-incoherent rant about how people like him made him feel terrible, and seeing me with friends, girlfriend, and sports was the absolute worst thing for his self-esteem. How I was a terrible brother, and things like that. He also called me a normie, which is the thing I wish no one not in high school said unironically. Overall, he was being very negative and, well, a jerk, so I was like, okay, and went downstairs to spend time with friends. Later, we went back to our university town. Sorry for being vague, just on the super unlikely case he's reading this since he's big on reading Reddit. Well, then again, guess he'd know from context anyway, so I guess I'm just being paranoid. And we started having a party there. I say party, but come on, we're the fencing team. We're the nerdiest of athletes. It was actually just friends hanging out with some girly drinks. I proudly love girly drinks, they're the best thing. Pizza and One Punch Man. I'm having a blast, and he calls, asked what I was doing, and when I answered, he started crying and going on a rant about how it was unfair that people like me got to have that. I don't even know what people like me means. But either way, he was having too much of an effect on my life, and my girlfriend got so sad worrying about me, I figured that taking care of my brother wasn't selfless. Not now that I'm sharing my life with someone. I've been living with her for a year now and dating her for over 2. I wanted to be a nice, loving brother and to care over his mental state over my own, but even if I wanted that, I can't possibly care for his mental state over my girlfriend's, and she got way too sad watching me. I had to be a little selfish. So yeah, nothing overly dramatic, just kind of did some growing up and realized that nothing ever affects only me, because I'm surrounded by wonderful friends and loved ones. So I put up some, or a lot, of distance between brother and I've never been so happy. It hurts to distance myself from the brother I've always admired. Like when I was little, I wanted to be just like him, you know? But now, frick, it is what it is. Looking back doesn't get me anywhere, right? Or how my coach puts it, looking back is literally against the rules, so don't do it. For some reason, thinking that always puts a smile on my face. Wow, and some final comments. The verbiage he's using reminds me of incels, exact same language and everything. They're a miserable lot in general. He's digging his own grave with friends and women with that attitude. There isn't much more you can do other than cut contact and tell him to seek therapy. Opie replies, Jesus, that place is horrifying, and it does sound like language he has used before. I hope to God he hasn't been there, but oh my God, man, I don't want to believe it, but it actually does fit. Jesus. Guess it was definitely the right decision to cut him off. Jesus, he sounds like Elliot Rodger. Everything your brother has done sounds obnoxious, but is there any way to help him that won't be a burden on you? Dude needs help. He replies, I've tried getting him into therapy, but he's rejected that at every corner. I don't know what to do about him. Is there maybe something wrong with him mentally, like he's not all there? Well, he seems all there about everything except women, and social stuff in general. Fairly smart guy and all, doesn't stumble upon his words or anything around me. He just thinks women are basically the devil. He suffers from depression, according to the therapist that he saw for a little bit before quitting, but that's all I can tell you for sure. What do Opie's parents think of this? Well, same approach as me. They're both trying to make him go to therapy. His response was that if we keep insisting, he's just going to move out, which might turn out to be the case. He originally wanted to move in with me, but I shut him down firmly. Your poor parents. I can't imagine what I'd do if one of my kids turned out like this. I know, it kills me too. I'm just trying to be as supportive as I can with them and make them proud. They blame themselves about how things turned out, but I always try to convince them that they were wonderful parents because, well, they were and still are. They were the absolute best. It's just, this just sort of thing happened and we don't know how to deal with it. Okay guys, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, I mean, props to OP for trying to stick around and help his brother. He seems like a nice person, but you just can't help someone who refuses to acknowledge they're the problem in the first place. And the sad part is, the brother can't get better until he acknowledges that fact. The brother is in for a miserable life if he continues that way, that's for sure. Anyway guys, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, leaving that there and moving on to the next. Alrighty, still on relationships. This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, My husband's car got destroyed, and now he's taking his frustrations out on me. We've been dating for 4 years, married for 11 months. Basically, a truck driver hit my husband's car and entirely destroyed it. It was a hit and run, so no one knows who the driver of the truck was, which is ironic because almost all of our neighbours saw it happening, but nobody bothered to write down the license plate number. The accident happened at around 7 a.m. Our whole neighbourhood started talking about it, and 3 hours later, one of them finally decided to let us know what happened. Needless to say, it was a crappy way to start the day. My husband loves his cars, especially this one. We're currently trying to figure things out with our insurance, but it's not looking good. My husband is super frustrated and angry, understandably so. Unfortunately, he's taking all of this frustration and anger out on me. He's yelling at me non-stop and forcefully pushes me out of the way when I'm standing in his way. I tried to comfort him and gently touched his arm, but he slapped my hand away. I've never seen him like that, and honestly, it's scaring me. I'm one of those people that immediately get emotional when someone raises their voice at them. Is there anything that I can do? How can I calm him down? What do you mean insurance isn't looking good? Isn't this literally what it's for? Or is it because it was someone else that did it that they can't do it? Who knows, but either way, this guy's behaviour is not acceptable, I say. Once he's simmered down a bit, you would hope that he'd be very apologetic for the way he's treated his wife here. Otherwise, it's not looking good. Let's go to the comments. Leave and let him work out this tantrum on his own. Come back only when he agrees to treat you with respect. He hit you, he pushed you. That is physical abuse. It is not okay. You do not have to stay and be his emotional punching bag until he feels like stopping. In a few days, when he has calmed down, tell him in no uncertain terms that you will not tolerate that kind of treatment, and if it happens again, even once, you're gone. Personally, I wouldn't agree to return until he agrees to go to therapy. Quote, he's yelling at me non-stop and forcefully pushes me out of the way when I'm standing in his way. I tried to comfort him and gently touched his arm, but he slapped my hand away. Well, it's time to pack a bag and go visit someone for a bit. If he is angry, you are not his emotional or physical punching bag. This is not normal, and you should not have to deal, endure, or cope with it. It's a car. It can be replaced. He is placing the value of his car over you. That is not okay. Big red flag. Leave him be for now. When things are calmed down, you bring up his unacceptable behaviour to him. Insist and don't back down. This is therapy-worthy behaviour. He needs to learn to deal with his emotions like an adult because right now you are living with a teenager lashing out. Let me guess, he is a stoic guy who carries his emotions on the inside and never discusses or allows himself to express emotions, making sure they're sealed away. And when he finally gets emotional, the floodgates open and all hell is loose. Typical manly behaviour. I'm saying this as a man in my 30s who had to learn the same. Be in healthy contact with my emotions. She replies, thanks for the advice. And yes, you're actually spot on. Now for an update, 22 days later. Just wanted to let y'all know that my dear husband will soon be my ex-husband. Most people suggested to leave for a short while to let my husband deal with his emotions on his own and to avoid me being his punching bag. I spent a full week at my mum's house, and when I came back he was still mad about his car. It got to the point where he was transferring all of his anger onto me, so now there were 2 angry people instead of 1. We kept getting into fights and discussions. But I decided that this marriage wasn't worth saving anymore when he pushed me out of his way. I wasn't purposefully standing in his way, I was preparing a meal in the kitchen. So hard that I lost my footing and hit my head against the corner of our kitchen table. I must have lost consciousness for a short amount of time, because suddenly my husband was next to me and was apologizing. I'm going to be honest, it is breaking my heart to leave this man, but I'm genuinely scared for my safety when I'm around him. There's plenty of fish in the sea, I guess. Holy moly, that escalated. I mean, if there's one thing we've learned is don't stay with people who can't regulate their emotions. Anyway guys, that's the end of that story, and that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those ones. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.